Hi, this is Deborah. This show with Sharina Annette Jones was recorded over a year ago and was on one of the many other platforms that Women Entrepreneurs Radio is on. But now this is your chance to listen in on this very inspiring conversation. Enjoy.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey, and I'm glad you could join me today. I want to introduce my guest. Sharina Annette Jones shares her life experiences following a shooting incident which left her paralyzed as a very young child. Even at the tender age of 5 years, she knew that the horrific experience left her with a responsibility to use her every resource, helping others gain the power to triumph over even the worst circumstances. Sharina's first book, Life of a Push Goddess, is one of her proudest achievements. She is writing her second book, Not All Goddesses Are Alike. Currently the president of Think Beyond the Chair and owner of Push Goddess, LLC. So welcome, Sharina. Really glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Deborah.
Your story is really a very powerful one, and, I just would like to take just a couple of minutes if you could just share that journey with the listeners to, what brought you to, where you are right now, especially when you're sharing your experiences with your books and business. What was your journey?
Well, when I was 5 years old, I was the victim of a shooting. I actually was shot by a 7-year-old child who had found a gun in his parents' closet. And, his household was a very disruptive, abusive household. And he actually got the gun, pointed it right at me, said, "I'm going to shoot you." I got up to run, and he pulled the trigger. And I remember that day, even though it was, so long ago. I remember it just like it was yesterday. Actually, the day before, and I have to tell this for you to understand what I was feeling that day. The day before the incident that I got shot, I actually stole a piece of candy from the penny store. And and my parents, were teaching me about heaven and hell, and so I actually thought that when I got shot, the burning sensation, I dropped straight to the floor. I actually thought the devil had my legs. And my sister said when she ran in, I was saying, "Please don't let him take me. Please don't let him take me." So, so even from that very young age, I was just learning about, religion and how an incident like this affected and shaped the rest of my life, really. But so that's kind of what happened. And, I kind of learned from an early age to I don't want to say get over, just to overcome things, because I was really more worried about how people around me felt. I didn't want my mom to be sad. I didn't want my dad to be sad. It was really important to me that I showed them that I could, overcome this, and that I was still happy, and that we could all move forward and be a family. Yeah, so, with that help and guidance of my family, my friends, my medical personnel, of course, I adjusted very well to the circumstance, and it did help me, push past the huge obstacles of learning how to do everything over again, because, transferring in and out of my wheelchair, swimming, horseback riding. My parents still had me do the same activities. It was just kind of learning how to do them in an adaptive way.
That's really, really fascinating that I guess that your parents were really encouraging you to do, not to sit there and not participate in the many things that you would be participating in anyway, but just to go beyond that, and any restrictions that people may see, and just go ahead and live your life. And I think, one hand, you could see that and go, wow, that's so inspirational. But on the other hand, you say, well, you're just living your life.
Right. you know. I do remember coming home from the hospital, my parents saying, you know, what do you want to do? You know, what are your concerns? And I said, you know, I want to make sure I can swim again, and I want to play basketball. And we had a little boat, and the very first time I learned to swim, my dad threw me off the boat and said, you know, try to kick your legs, stay afloat. Well, when I came home from the hospital when I was paralyzed, he basically did the same thing. He put me in the water and just said, move your hands, you know, I will not let you drown. Mm-hmm. And I'm an excellent swimmer. I mean, I guess they taught me not to be afraid, just to go after what I wanted.
Mhm. Mhm. Wow. And that is, you know, those are lessons that, you know, people who haven't been through something like that, you know, have yet to learn. I think, you know, it's like, when you think about it, you know, people who haven't been through those kind of life and altering events, you know, may get upset because some little thing happened to them that they felt they couldn't overcome. And then when you think about the challenges that people face and how they just go on and do what they have to do, you know, it is your life and an everyday thing for you, but it's also an inspiration to others who, you know, may want to think again about how, you know, the things they're complaining about or things they think are stopping them. You know, from getting up and doing what they have to do. So, you know, you've written a book. You know, what really, you know, what motivates you to say, you know, I'm gonna put this book together, and then you're working on your second book. You know, what motivates you to want to get out there with your books?
You know, I always had people asking me what happened and why do I smile every day? Why am I happy every day? What motivates me to get up every morning? And, you know, especially after an injury, some of the mentees that I mentor, they just kind of want to know, how did you get past this part, you know? So I decided, instead of telling the same story over and over again, I should just write it down. And it was a very long process, Deborah. It took me 6 years to write my book. And I think part of that also was writing is very healing. It was still a healing process for me too. So, yeah. So, and then I had to decide, what did I really want people to know about me? I mean, you know, there were some skeletons in my closet that I thought, okay, I don't want people to know this, but I realized, you know, it would help somebody else, and that, you know, I wasn't the only one going through those things, such as going through my teens. I had an eating disorder, and so, you know, I talk about that, and I you know, it kind of helped me get over the embarrassment of having that. It's more, now I feel like I've definitely I've went through that, and, you know, I'm healed, and now I can help somebody else get through that too.
And you're right, it's writing really does help you to get things out, and really helps you to explore yourself, you know, and your own feelings, and helps people to work through things. You know, it's really a therapy in a way, you know, and what's also good is that other people get to learn from what you've been through.
Absolutely.
You know? So, you know, what led you to form your company?
Well, what happened was, I was crowned Miss Wilshire, Michigan in 2011, and I was first runner-up Miss Wilshire America 2012. And my platform that year was Think Beyond the Chair. And I just wanted to, you know, help, you know, other people realize that no matter what your situation, that you can move past that and you can have an active, healthy, fun life. So I started a nonprofit organization called Think Beyond the Chair. And, you know, I really just wanted to provide hope, you know, healing in the community, and you know, help people even in the community realize when you see someone in a wheelchair, that doesn't mean, you know, they're this alien. They're just, you know, somebody with a disability that you can see. Because there's a lot of people with disabilities that you just can't see. Right. And so when I started my nonprofit, I would help people, you know, I just had this little saying, push like a goddess, push like a goddess. And it was just kind of like my little thing. And then one day I decided to make shirts for people, and they loved it. And then from there, it was just like, you know what, you know, let's be goddess strong. And then it just, everything just started going from there. And I thought, well, you know what, let's make this a clothing line. And I started with shirts. and then I went to pants and sweaters and sweatshirts and nail polish that I teamed up with Contrary Polish to do. So, yeah, so I mean, that's kind of how it started, and I'm currently in the process of creating a line called Push Gents for men, and it's going to be motivational with clothing and accessories for men in wheelchairs.
Wow, that's terrific, because you've just gone, okay, I know you've heard that thunder, but that's just passing through right now, so we're gonna carry on. But that is just so fantastic, because it just shows what is possible. You know, when people just say, okay, I'm going to go with this and I'm going to follow what's in my heart, and all these doors, you know, it sounds like all these doors have opened for you to really get out there and do what you want to do in terms of, you know, getting your business and all these different ideas that you have. You know, it sounds like things are just flowing.
It is. It really is. And I just really want people to think positive, so all of my sayings and everything, they're all just positive. I think that if you put positive energy out there, you know, you'll be positive. And I talk a lot about that even on my blog, about positive thinking, how powerful it is, and, you know, surrounding yourself with with positive people, and, you know, understanding the power of thought. I mean, you know, every morning I get up and I give myself a pep talk. Now, some people might think it's silly, but it works for me, you know. I just look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself, you know, you're God, you're worthy, you're beautiful. And it just helps start your day off right before any negative energy can influence me.
That's such a great idea, you know, because I think that when you get up and you get started, and a lot of times you just jump on the computer or whatever you're doing, you know, get out there, and people don't really stop and take that time for themselves in the morning, you know, because I know I've done that a lot myself, but then sometimes I kind of talk myself out of it. You know, it's like, oh, I have to go now and get on the computer, but, you know, wait a minute, let's take a minute to just kind of compose yourself and maybe read something that's going to help you feel better. And you're right, those things do make a big difference to you, though at that time you may be thinking, oh, this is taking me away from something else I wanted to do. But that's so true. It's really something that takes, you know, step by step. If you do it, you are going to see some changes in how you feel and how you interact with the world. So you got to kind of be patient with it, you know. So it just sounds like you've got so many wonderful things going on, and you know, I mean, how do you organize your time with all these activities happening?
Well, I'm very busy.
I see.
I'm very busy, but you know, I wake up early. You know, I focused first on Think Beyond the Chair, the nonprofit, and all of our social events that we have going on. We just had our annual Party in the Park, which is an all-accessible carnival that we host every year in Southfield that's free for everyone. So that just ended. So now just having like 2 or 3 more hours in my day, I feel like I have all the time in the world. I feel amazing. So I'm just working on our next project, our next social event that's going on this coming fall. So,
wow.
And then, you know, after that, I do all my Push Goddess orders in the afternoon, and then by the time my husband gets home, that's family time. I mean, I'm pretty organized. Yeah, I mean, I have this down now.
Well, I guess you have to be, you know, because just to have all these different things happening, you know, business and writing and you know, your organization and just getting out there and doing different things. You know, a lot of times entrepreneurs are always feeling like they just don't have enough time, and they're never organized enough to keep things going. And you know, it's really good to hear some tips from someone who has a lot going on and is able to manage it all very well.
I'm managing it. I wouldn't say very well, but it's happening.
Well, I guess happening. In that case, it's best not to do too much.
And then, for writing, so I'm working on my second book, Not All Goddesses Are Alike. And, the best time for me to write it's seasonal. It's summer. So I do most of my writing in the summer. So right now I'm doing a lot of writing. I took about a month off of my Push Goddess blog because I was finishing up the children's book. And, so I mean, I kind of just know what works for me. I'm kind of in a flow now. The first couple of years it was much harder than it is now.
So what prompted you to start your organization, Think Beyond the Chair? When you've got so much going on, what led you to say that you want to start that?
Well, when I was in Wilshire, Michigan, and I was going to all the hospitals and I was visiting people, and I just kind of really wanted to keep it going. I mean, my reign was coming to an end, and I thought, this is something that I love to do. And I talked it over with my husband. At the time, I was also a full-time North American marketing manager for a supply chain company, and I thought, I wasn't really getting the gratification of the work I was doing there. So I thought, I love to help people. I like to wake up in the morning, and it doesn't feel like work. And so I kind of talked to my husband and said, do you think we can start this as a nonprofit? And I'll do this. I'll start with peer mentoring. And that's what I think my calling is. And I have an amazing husband, and he said, yes, I'll help you do this. We supported the business actually the first 2 years on our own financially, and the third year we started getting sponsors. So yeah, I mean, it was just the fact that I love to help people. I like to motivate people to help themselves, and and that's really how it started. I kept my reign going. This is did when I was Miss Wilshire, Michigan, and I just kept it going. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's fantastic, just to see that you could, find a way to do that. So a lot of times people will, have thoughts about maybe I should do this or I could do that. And a lot of times people don't really follow through, whether they're too busy or they just talk themselves out of it because they think, I don't think I can do that, but it's, sometimes we get these ideas and it's best for us to see what we could do with it, I think a lot of times most people just get great ideas and they don't do anything.
Don't act on it. Absolutely. They don't act on it,
Exactly.
But for Think Beyond the Chair, I really wanted to provide social activities for people that were a positive experience. So we're not coming out, we're not, boo-hoo, I'm in a wheelchair, this has happened to me. I just wanted it to be like, okay, this is just life, and, here's all the people who have similar, or, really we deal with all people with all disabilities. So it's not just paraplegic or quadriplegic. It might be someone with MS or spina bifida. But, it's just a place that you can forget all of that medical terms and just have a good time and meet good people. And, we have a few events a year. We also provide, support, education, and advocacy for people with disabilities. But, we have something called the Empowerment Zone. And if you go to thinkbeyondthechair.org, you can kind of see all of this. But, we go into schools. We talk about anti-bullying. We also do violence prevention towards people with disabilities. We've been in the juvenile system talking to children who have caused crimes, and so they could see, how the victims are, and just understand a little bit more, so you could see both sides of, of the coin. And then also, our mentoring to empower. So, peer support and mentoring, it really is a life changer for a person with a disability. It's harder to relate to someone who doesn't have a disability. So if I rolled into a hospital room, and somebody is a new para, it's easier for them to relate to me knowing that I've been through those situations and that they can talk to me, and, I can help them in a lot of that. So, and a lot of our mentees end up being mentors. So, yeah. So, and then our peer support, it's not just with the individual that has a disability. It's also with family members and friends, because sometimes it's the family members and friends that are having a harder time than that person with a disability. So we mentor to anybody in your circle. Absolutely.
That's pretty interesting. As far as people and their impressions. do you feel that there's a lot of education has to happen with people in terms of disabled? You know, that people have certain beliefs or stereotypes that, you know, you feel, I'm sure there's a lot, but...
Oh, yeah. This would have to be a 2-hour show for us to go through.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot, unfortunately, you know, but are there, you know, any things that really come to mind that you feel that people really should know or open their minds about?
Yeah. If you go to pushgoddess.com and click on the blog, I talk about everything from, you know, don't be a prisoner of sexual myths to, you know, health and fitness. I talk about, you know, like heroes are made, they're not born, like heroes with disabilities. Is it dating? Is it harder for people with physical disabilities? You know, so I really try to talk about the subjects that I think some people like to push under the rug, you know, abuse, you know, disability abuse. You know, it is considered a hate crime, but you don't hear much about it.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I feel like I know a lot of people, especially, you know, some of my blogs, some people are like, I can't believe you said that, or I can't believe you brought that up. But I'm like, you know, I think people think about it, they just don't want to say it. You know, one of my number one questions when I go into a hospital and I'm talking to someone who's newly injured, one of the very first things they ask me is, you know, can I have sex? Can I have children? You know, will I, you know, be able to get married? Those are all the concerns that, you know, I hear on a daily basis. So I felt like, you know, we should talk about this. Yes, you can be a mother, you know, you can be a father, you can, you know, have children, you can, you know, have a healthy sexual relationship with your spouse. I mean, yeah, most definitely. And I'm just not afraid to talk about it.
And that's really, you know, important for people to be able to have a place where people understand where they're coming from. And it's not a thing of people being condescending or, you know, like I said, it's very tempting to just go, oh, how inspirational, you know, instead of seeing that, well, this is this person's life. It's not,
right.
You know, they're not here to, you know, to put on a little show for you. It's every day for someone to just do what they do. And I think that a lot of people tend to look at that as something like, oh, well, this person does this and this, and so there's something, you know, strange about it, or I can't even think of the right word, but I think a lot of times people have that impression, maybe because a lot of times we don't always see these things represented or different people represented in the media or on TV, or, you know, we don't really get a taste of the diversity of the people who are out here doing things. So people assume, I guess, that you don't do something, you know, you don't get to swim, or you don't get to go play this game, or you don't just have your regular life. So I really think it's so important and great that you're doing something that says, hey, we're here, and, you know, let's advocate for folks that may not have that. You know, there's just a lot of people who just kind of get left off in the shadows for whatever reason, and, you know, we really have to kind of look at it like I said, the diversity of everyone's experience out here, and realize everyone brings something to the table, and, you know, they may have something that we can, you know, help, or they can help us, or whatever.
Absolutely,
you know,
Deborah.
It's just, you know, because I have a cousin with a disability, and it's, you know, it doesn't stop her from doing what she's doing, but, you know, sometimes people have the impression that, you know, because she maybe can't walk a certain way or whatever, they form certain assumptions, and, you know, just seeing that really, you know, woke me up to, okay, you know, I could see how this is a big problem, because, you know, sometimes I've wanted to tell them a few things.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let me just keep my mouth shut. So, you know, but let's just appreciate everybody and what everybody's got out here and what they're going through, and you know, stop all this assumptions, I think, about what people are about. That could be a start if we could do that. So if you could definitely just give the websites and let people know where they can find you and find out more about your company and your books and all that good stuff.
Yes, if you could go to pushgoddess.com, you can see my blog. That's also where my PG Boutique is, where all my shirts and clothing and articles of that nature. You can also go to thinkbeyondthechair.org. That is the nonprofit, Think Beyond the Chair. And you can click on our empowerment zone. You can find all upcoming social events. My Twitter handle is @PushGoddess, and I'm at Facebook/PushGoddess as well.
Wonderful. So when are you, I know you're still working on your next book, but, do you have a target date in mind?
My target date is October 1st, and we know how that always works, but I'm actually just working on the illustrations now, and once that is completed, these last few illustrations, we're in the final stages. So.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Yeah, I know that those things can end up getting pushed off a bit, or things can come up, and suddenly the date is flexible, so I definitely understand that, but I think that's fantastic for people to be able to look forward to that and also check out, the book you already have out, because I think there's a lot of good stuff that we could definitely learn, from you and your experience and all the 100,000 things that you're doing right now. I hope you're going to write a book of meditation, because I think that would be wonderful. Seriously, I'm like, how is she doing all this? Goodness sakes, people can barely just get out of bed in the morning sometimes. It's like, wow, it's got all this great stuff going on. This is fantastic.
You know what I say, Deborah? Push Goddess is a woman that understands she has an unlimited capacity to make her life anything she wants. So.
That's it.
No.
Well, that's what you have to do.
Yes. And I'm not ready to give up yet.
Well, that's it. That's what you have to. You have to have a mantra, I think, just to do the things you want to do, and get through all the stuff on your list, and keep it all going, because that is such a popular topic for entrepreneurs. It's like, how can you stay organized and how can you stay balanced? And I'm like, oh my God, is it possible? I'd love to know. Is it?
It is. It is possible. Yes.
Well, I feel better now, because I'm like, oh my God, I just gave up on that one. But, could you, just kind of share some final thoughts with us regarding, what you're doing and what other things you may have planned in the future? Or?
Like I said, I'm working on the push gents for men. I've had a lot of guys contact me saying, hey, what about us? You don't care about women in wheelchairs? No, absolutely not. So, so Push Gents for Men is next. Like I said, I'm finishing my book, Not All Goddesses Are Alike. I'm working on my third book already as well, and it's untitled, but it's more of a risque book. We talk a lot about adult subjects in this book, but it needs to be said. And so I mean, I'm still writing and still creating new apparel and everything. So check me out at pushgoddess.com, and you can find out all the things that's going on.
Yes, and I was taking a look at the website when we were talking, and there's a lot of good stuff on there. So, you're definitely building your empire. So that's very exciting to have so many things going on, and really at the same time, be motivational and really do something positive. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs really want to have a positive effect on the world, and not just have it be about the business end of it. So, when I talk to someone who's got that going on, I think it's really, it's really impressive to me, because it's not always easy to have that, to have that viewpoint that you're making some positive changes at the same time that you're doing a business. So hopefully that's something more and more businesses will start to focus on and have more positive effects out here. So I think that'd be great for everybody. So Well, this time, as I thought, went by so fast. I feel like we just started talking. Like, what happened? Well, how is it already 8:30? Oh my God! Well, this has been really terrific, and as I, hopefully you will, come back again and share some more, and especially once your new book is released, and share more about what you're up to, and what other things are going on, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me on tonight, Deborah.
Well, I thank you for being here, and like I said, I'm very jealous about your organizational skills right now. I'm just going to go think about that right now. She's like, okay, as she's writing books and doing all these things, okay. I'll have to go look at my schedule because it's definitely not too good. So, but thank you so much, Sharina. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thanks so much for joining me. And we'll look forward to seeing you here again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone. I know you've enjoyed this conversation with Sharina Annette Jones, CEO of Push Goddess, LLC. So please make sure you check out her website, pushgoddess.com, and thinkbeyondtheshare.org, and check out all the activities that she's involved with, and, really just, share that information, share the show. Come to blogtalkradio.com/Coach Deb and download the show and share it on social media. And as I said, there's an archive here going back over 5 years, so please make sure that you let your friends know to stop by Women Entrepreneurs Radio and check it out. It's a lot of good stuff here. A lot of people have shared over the years, and, really appreciate them taking the time to stop by. So please make sure you take advantage of all their expertise, and also check out their websites, when you get a chance, and check them out. So, once again, it's been another episode of Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye now.